Welcome back to your latest industry recap. There's news on the ungrounding of Boeing 787s, Bamboo Airways, a name you may have forgotten, eyeing growth, and A321XLR orders at risk of being removed. One up in there. WhizAir confirming in the last couple of weeks it'll depart the Middle East, and now looking to make changes with the future of Airbus aircraft. The budget European carrier is in discussion with that very plane maker to switch around its future fleet makeup and notably reduce its reliance on the A321XLR. If executed, this would be a decision that'd see the XLR figure drop from the 47 currently on order, instead opting for the base model. The XLR was expected to play a pretty big role in the development of medium-range flights towards markets such as the Middle East, and yes, looking at locations more specifically, such as Abu Dhabi. However, with WhizAir exiting this part of the world, the need for the A321XLR is no longer what it once was, and therefore changes are required to its future outlook. Moving forward, WhizAir says it'll refocus its operations across Central and Eastern European markets, even towards the West, following a comprehensive review. Driven by challenges in this region and a low-cost business model, the airline aims to make its operations profitable wherever possible. However, the operator has encountered difficulties, indicating that more is going wrong than right. Engine problems have definitely impacted the company's ability to operate profitably. WhizAir uses Airbus's next-generation planes, but these have been affected by groundings due to Pratt & Whitney GTF engine complications for now many years. However, away from the groundings, the carrier cites the continued airspace closures and political tensions which have diverted traffic, added costs, and increased travel times. These disruptions are also affecting demand across its routes and the general appeal of WhizAir services to these markets, naturally affecting their ability to be profitable compared to existing destinations closer in nature to their home bases. Only a matter of months ago, WhizAir confirmed the importance of the A321XLR in the development of its network, looking deeper into the future. Despite encountering delays in its delivery, the budget European airline felt that there was a firm belief the jet would be a game changer for markets such as the Middle East. The enhanced range capabilities are a key selling point, allowing routes such as London Gatwick to Jeddah to be flown without a single stop, alongside others. Configured in all economy at delivery, the airline noted that the layout would put a prime focus on passenger capacity, integral to the business model, which aims to offer low-cost flying options while maximizing connectivity as well. Now, after all the struggles in taking delivery of the A321XLR, its future in the airline's fleet will not be quite what it once was, with a realigned focus taking place across the company that'll see a departure from the Middle East. Over to the next story, and Bamboo Airways is attempting to enter a new era of its operations after a successful 2025 extraordinary general meeting of shareholders. The carrier says the completion of the board is a critical step in the right direction as they focus on perfecting the management as part of this restructuring journey, which the brand has been in for some time. Key goals coming out of the restructuring have been to try and find ways to grow stability across the business and find ways to prepare for new growth by also sorting out finances. Things are starting to improve for the company. In the first 6 months of this year, the seat utilization rate reached 88%, while revenue exceeded 96% of the plan. The Vietnamese carrier has definitely experienced its operating losses decrease sharply as well, allowing it to confirm it's edging closer to that break-even point, a milestone after years of hardship. With this in mind, now the carrier can look towards building for the future and, more importantly, move towards profitability, giving much-needed relief to many areas of the business. Bamboo Airways has announced formally plans to implement a 5-year strategic plan from 2025 through to the turn of the decade, aiming to drive growth and encourage partners to engage with additional funding opportunities. It's been a tough period for Bamboo Airways, who are still relatively new. They only launched in 2019. The carrier aspired to become a leading choice in the Vietnamese market, operating a fuel-efficient fleet of new aircraft to maximize its profitability in the early years and as it develops. However, Bamboo Airways launched during one of the industry's most challenging periods, the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic, where shortly shortly after its launch, the pandemic derailed many of the airline's initial plans. In 2023, there were reports of the company with salary payments being delayed at a point where restructuring was occurring. Those reports indicated that with 10% of the pilot staff departing the airline equating to 30 of your foreign pilots, a move that was critical to the long-term stability of the brand was taken. All of this was compounded when Bamboo Airways would confirm remove long-haul international flights from its schedule, a decision reached to close bookings across Frankfurt, Melbourne and Sydney, adding to the list of many other cancellations, and ultimately remove the need for the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Over to the final story, and that actually sits with the 787 Dreamliner and looks towards some real positive developments on the ungrounding of aircraft that have been parked for quite some time. That sits with Kenya Airways, who are slowly returning their aircraft to service. The managing director and CEO of the Kenyan carrier confirmed in the middle of this month via reporting from The Star that they are going to recommence scheduled passenger flying with the series. The ability to return the Dreamliners to service marks the beginning of the end of a colossal challenge across the business in meeting demand and offering capacity, which have been ongoing since the end of 2014. Kenya Airways hopes to have all of its aircraft as part of the 787 that were grounded, which is 5Y-KZA, 5Y-KZC, and 5Y-KZH, ungrounded by the end of the year. Only in the early parts of this month, they said revenues across the financial year would be lower than expected, driven by groundings and representing the adjusted forecast from earlier in 2025. You remember when Kenya Airways put forward guidance, but at that point, the situation was not clear. With one 787 returning, you can expect the two remaining units to resume by the end of the year. We're looking at one in September and one in December, but this would permit no further delays. The last 6+ months have been a very big challenge for Kenya Airways. The 787 is crucial to their long-haul operations. So for the airline, which is a global one, to be without many of its units, it means flights have been delayed and cancelled, and as a result, there's been intense pressure felt on the business from employees at airports to those in upper management who are trying to find ways to mitigate customer frustrations and reroute passengers. That is easier said than done. Why were these 787s grounded? Well, if you guessed engine-related circumstances, you would be correct. Ongoing maintenance issues have been affecting the industry, and the airline stated in April that the necessary spare engines that would eventually arrive to them were necessary to return the planes to service. But with shortages in parts, long maintenance timeframes, and a lack of spare engines, the 787 has been one of the most affected by the ongoing supply chain crisis, and Rolls-Royce has been at the forefront. Now, Kenya Airways is absolutely not the only airline to have felt concerns across recent times, but it is definitely one of the more prominent, given it relies so heavily on the Boeing 787 for those long-haul operations. Let me know your thoughts on today's news down below in the comments. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. Take care, do be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow for your next industry recap.
And we'll fly.